Hey there, history nerds, and welcome back to WTF History, the channel where we dig up the wildest, most mind-blowing stories from the past that make you go, wait, what? Today, we're taking you to the windswept steppes of ancient Central Asia, where the mountains slice through the sky like jagged blades, and a warrior queen etched her name in a history with blood. Not just any blood, but that of the most powerful man the world had ever known. This is the story of Tomyris, queen of the Massagetae, and how she took on Cyrus the Great, the guy who built an empire so vast it makes modern superpowers look like small fry. Grab a seat, because this tale of ambition, betrayal, and vengeance is about to take you on a wild ride. Let's set the scene. It's the 6th century BCE, a time when Rome is just a dusty village and Athens is still tinkering with this newfangled idea called democracy. Meanwhile, in the east, something massive is happening. Cyrus the Great, king of the Persians, is forging an empire that stretches from the shimmering Mediterranean to the rugged peaks of the Hindu Kush, from the Caucasus Mountains to the Persian Gulf. We're talking about a territory so enormous it's hard to wrap your head around. No one had ever seen anything like it. A single man ruling over millions across continents, uniting people who spoke different languages, worshipped different gods, and lived entirely different lives. Cyrus wasn't just a conqueror. He was a game changer. Unlike the bloodthirsty tyrants who came before him, Cyrus had a different approach. When he conquered Babylon, he didn't burn it to the ground or slaughter everyone in sight. Instead, he freed the Jews from captivity, letting them return to their homeland. He allowed conquered peoples to keep their religions, their customs, even their local leaders. His famous Cyrus cylinder, a clay tablet inscribed with his decrees, is often called the world's first human rights document. Sounds like a pretty cool guy, right? Well, don't get too comfortable. That kindness wasn't just in being nice, it was strategy. By respecting local cultures, he kept his sprawling empire from crumbling under its own weight. It was like he was playing chess while everyone else was still figuring out the rules of checkers. But beneath that liberator's mask was a hunger that drove him. Ambition. Every kingdom he swallowed only made him want more. By 530 BCE, Cyrus had already crushed ancient dynasties that had stood for centuries. Lydia, Babylon, you name it, they all fell to his armies. But there was one place left that caught his eye, a place where his usual playbook wouldn't work. The vast, untamed steppes of Central Asia. Out there, beyond the Jaxartes River, known today as the Syr Darya, lived a people called the Massagetae. These weren't city dwellers with fancy palaces or bustling markets. They were nomads, roaming the endless plains under a sky that stretched forever. Their home was the steppe, a harsh, open world where the wind never stopped howling. They didn't have walls or cities. Their roof was the stars, their limits the horizon. They were born in the saddle, raised to shoot arrows with deadly accuracy while galloping at full speed. Tough doesn't even begin to describe them. At the head of this fierce, free people was a woman who'd make even the bravest warrior think twice. Queen Tomyris. We don't know much about her early years. Ancient historians, mostly men, weren't exactly eager to write about women, even queens. But here's what we do know. When her husband died, Tomyris didn't just step into his role as some temporary figurehead. She took command of the Massagetae and proved she was a force to be reckoned with. She wasn't ruling because of her bloodline or her marriage. She earned her people's respect through sheer skill and grit. This was a woman who could lead armies, ride into battle, and stare down any challenger without flinching. And she was about to face the biggest challenge of her life. Cyrus, fresh off his string of victories, decided the Massagetae were next on his hit list. He sent emissaries to Tomyris' nomadic court. Picture a cluster of tents in the middle of nowhere with an offer. He proposed marriage. Now, on the surface, this sounds like a diplomatic move, maybe even a little romantic. A powerful king marrying a queen to unite their people seems like a win-win. But Tomyris wasn't fooled. She saw right through it. This wasn't a love letter. It was a power grab. Cyrus wanted to absorb the Massagetae into his empire without firing a single arrow. By marrying her, he'd make her a Persian queen, technically still a ruler, but of a province under his thumb. Her people would lose their freedom, their way of life without a fight. Tomyris wasn't having it. She sent his emissaries back with a message that was polite but razor-sharp. The Massagetae would stay free, and she'd be no one's wife or subject, especially not Cyrus's. Can you imagine the sting of that rejection? Cyrus, the man who'd toppled entire kingdoms, shut down by a barbarian queen from some nomadic tribe? It hit him right in the ego. If diplomacy wouldn't work, he'd do what he did best: war. He called up his generals, gathered a massive army, and set out for the Jaxartes, ready to crush the Massagetae and add their lands to his ever-growing empire. So, Cyrus is on the move, his army marching toward the Jaxartes River, ready to bring the Massagetae to their knees. This isn't just another campaign for him, it's personal now. Tomyris' rejection stung, and he's not the kind of guy who takes no for an answer. His troops are battle-hardened, disciplined, and used to rolling over kingdoms like they're nothing. But the steppe is a different beast. It's not the lush fields of Mesopotamia or the walled cities of Babylon. It's a vast, open wilderness where the rules of war Cyrus knows so well don't apply. The Massagetae aren't going to line up for a nice, tidy battle. They're nomads, masters of hit and run, and their queen, Tomyris, is about to show Cyrus just how out of his depth he is. Before he even gets to the fighting, Tomyris tries one last time to avoid bloodshed. She sent a messenger to Cyrus with a warning that cuts like a knife. She tells him to abandon his plans, to go back to ruling his own people and let her rule hers. She knows he won't listen. His ambition is too big, his pride too swollen, but she gives him the chance. It's like she's saying, "I'm giving you an out, buddy. Take it." But Cyrus? He's too far gone. He's the guy who conquered Babylon, who made kings bow. A nomad queen's warning isn't going to stop him. So he presses on, building bridges across the Jaxartes to invade her territory. Tomyris, though, isn't sitting around waiting for him to show up. She's a strategist, and she knows the steppe like the back of her hand. Instead of trying to block Cyrus at the river, she lets him cross. She wants him on her turf, where the land itself becomes her ally. The steppe is unforgiving. No roads, no landmarks, just endless grass and sky. For the Persians, it's like stepping into an alien world. For the Massagetae, it's home. Cyrus, confident as ever, doesn't see the trap. He thinks he's got this in the bag. After all, he's got a secret weapon, a plan cooked up by one of his advisors, Croesus, the former king of Lydia. You remember Croesus, right? The guy so rich his name became a byword for wealth? After Cyrus conquered Lydia, Croesus didn't get the axe. He got a job as Cyrus's right-hand man. And now, he's got an idea to outsmart the Massagetae. He tells Cyrus, these nomads are fierce, but they've got one big weakness. They don't know wine. That's right, wine, the stuff Persians drink like water, is completely foreign to the Massagetae. They're used to sipping fermented mare's milk or stream water, not this head-spinning grape juice. Croesus's plan is devious. Set up a decoy camp, stock it with food and barrels of wine, leave a small garrison to guard it, and then fake a retreat. Let the Massagetae find the camp, get drunk, and when they're too wasted to fight, swoop in and wipe them out. It's cunning, it's ruthless, and it's exactly the kind of tricks Cyrus loves. So, the Persians set the trap. They build a camp near the Jaxartes, load it with supplies, and leave just enough low-ranking soldiers to make it look legit. Then they pull back, acting like they're retreating. It's like dangling a shiny toy in front of a kid, knowing you're waiting to pounce. Enter Spartopyes' Tomyris' son. He's young, brave, and leading a group of Massagetae warriors. He spots the camp, sees the tiny garrison, and thinks, this is too good to be true. He's not wrong, but he doesn't know it yet. His men charge in, take out the guards, and find themselves surrounded by more food and drink than they've ever seen. And that wine? It's like nothing they've ever tasted. They start drinking, probably thinking they're celebrating a quick win. Big mistake. The Massagetae have no idea what alcohol does. Before long, they're stumbling, laughing, passing out in the grass. It's a party until Cyrus's army comes roaring back in the dead of night. The drunken Massagetae don't stand a chance. The Persians cut them down, capturing anyone still breathing. Among the prisoners is Spargopizes himself. Imagine Tomyris heartbreaking when she hears the news. Her son, her pride, taken because of a cheap trick. But it gets worse. Spargopizes, waking up in chains, realizes he led his men into a trap. The shame is too much. According to Herodotus, he begs the Persians to free him, not to escape, but for something far darker. The moment his chains are loosened, he takes his own life, unable to live with the dishonor. Tomyris' world shatters. She's already lost her husband, and now her son is gone. Not in a fair fight, but because Cyrus played dirty. Her grief doesn't break her, though. It transforms her. It's like a fire in her chest, burning hotter and colder all at once. She sends another messenger to Cyrus, and this time, her words are a vow. She calls him out for his trickery, for using wine to poison her son instead of facing him in battle. She tells him to leave her lands, to take his army and go, and she'll forgive the loss of her men. But if he stays, she swears by the sun, the lord of the Massagetae, that she'll make him drown in the blood he craves. It's not just a threat, it's a promise. Cyrus hears Tomyris' warning, but he's not fazed. The man who conquered Babylon, who crushed Lydia, who's never lost a campaign, isn't about to back down because of some nomad queen's angry words. He's too wrapped up in his own legend, too sure he's untouchable. He thinks the Massagetae are just another obstacle, another name to add to his list of conquests. So, he pushes deeper into the steppe, his army sprawling across the plains, ready to finish what he started. But Tomyris isn't just sitting there mourning. Her son's death has lit a fire in her, and she's turning that pain into a plan to make Cyrus regret ever crossing the Jaxartes. She starts by doing what she does best, rallying her people. The Massagetae aren't just one tribe. They're a confederation, a network of nomadic groups who've survived the steppe by sticking together. Tomyris calls them all, from every corner of the plains. Warriors who've spent their lives on horseback, who can fire an arrow and hit a moving target from hundreds of yards away, who can ride for days without stopping. They all answer her call. This isn't just an army. It's a storm fueled by a mother's fury and a people's pride. Tomyris knows she can't match Cyrus's numbers or his heavy infantry, but she doesn't need to. The steppe is her weapon, and she's about to use it. Cyrus's army, meanwhile, is riding high on their wine-soaked victory. They've got Spargopizes' men either dead or in chains, and they're feeling invincible. But the steppe is a different kind of battlefield. There are no walls to siege, no cities to capture, just endless grass and a horizon that plays tricks on your eyes. The Persians are out of their element, weighed down by their armor. Their supply lines stretch thin across a land they don't understand. Tomyris doesn't meet them head-on like Cyrus expects. She's too smart for that. Instead, she lets them spread out, lets them get comfortable, lets them think they got the upper hand. Then she strikes. The battle that unfolds is like nothing Cyrus has ever faced. The Massagetae come at the Persians like a swarm of locusts. Their mounted archers sweep in, loose a hail of arrows, and vanish before the Persians can even form a line. It's hit and run at its finest, the kind of guerrilla warfare the Massagetae have perfected over generations. Imagine trying to fight a shadow that keeps slipping away, except that shadow is shooting arrows that never miss. The Persians, trained for pitched battles and sieges, can't keep up. Their heavy infantry, so effective in the fields of Mesopotamia, is useless in this open, fluid chaos. Every time they try to chase the Massagetae, they're lured deeper into the steppe, where the nomad's speed and mobility reign supreme. Cyrus doesn't back down, though. He's not just a strategist. He's a warrior. He leads charges himself, sword in hand, rallying his men with the kind of charisma that made him a legend. You got to give him credit. He's out there in the thick of it, fighting like a man who believes he's destined to win. But destiny's a funny thing. No matter how brave he is, no matter how many charges he leads, he's up against an enemy who's not just fighting for victory, but for vengeance. Every arrow the Massagetae fire carries Tomyris' rage, her grief for her son, her determination to protect her people. The Persians start to falter, their formations breaking under the relentless attacks, their morale crumbling as the steppe swallows them. Then, in the heat of the battle, it happens. Cyrus, the man who made kings tremble, the architect of the greatest empire the world had ever seen, falls. Maybe an arrow catches him in the chest. Maybe a Massagetae warrior gets close enough to land a fatal blow. We don't know the exact moment, but we know the outcome. Cyrus the Great is dead, his blood soaking into the grass he thought he'd conquer. The Persians are shattered, their invincible king gone, their army in disarray. For the Massagetae, it's a triumph, but for Tomyris, it's not enough. Killing Cyrus isn't the end of her story. It's the setup for something even bigger, something that'll make sure no one forgets her name. The battle is over, and the steppe is a graveyard. Bodies litter the plains, Persian and Massagetae alike. The grass stained red under a sky that seems too vast for such carnage. Cyrus's army, once an unstoppable force, is broken, their dreams of conquest buried with their king. For most leaders, this would be enough, a victory to celebrate, a story to tell around the campfires. But Tomyris isn't most leaders. She didn't just fight to win a battle. She fought to send a message, to avenge her son, to show the world what happens when you underestimate the Massagetae. And she's not done yet. She gives an order that cuts through the chaos, finds Cyrus's body. Her warriors scour the battlefield, stepping over the fallen, searching for the man who thought he could tame the steppe. They find him lifeless, his ambition snuffed out in the grass. You might think Tomyris would send his body back to Persia, maybe with a diplomatic gesture to smooth things over. That's what civilized rulers do, right? But Tomyris isn't playing by those rules. She's got something far more dramatic in mind, something that'll sear her name into history's memory. According to Herodotus, she orders her men to cut off Cyrus's head. Yeah, you heard that right. Off with his head. But she's not stopping there. This is where the story goes from epic to straight-up legendary. Tomyris takes a wineskin, one of those leather bags the nomads used to carry water or mare's milk, and orders it filled with human blood. Whose blood? Maybe it's from the fallen Persians. Maybe it's a mix from the battlefield's carnage. The details don't matter. What matters is what she does next. She grabs Cyrus's severed head by the hair, looks into the eyes of the man who killed her son through trickery, and plunges it into the wineskin. As she does, she speaks words that echo like thunder. I live, and I have conquered you in battle. But you destroyed me by taking my son through trickery. Now, as I promised, I shall quench your thirst for blood. Picture that moment. It's not just revenge, it's a statement. Cyrus spent his life spilling blood to feed his empire's endless hunger. He wanted more land, more power, more glory. Now his head is submerged in the very thing he craved, a gruesome mirror of his own ambition. Tomyris isn't just punishing him, she's rewriting his legacy. She's saying, you thought you could trick me, take my son, take my people's freedom? Here's what you get. It's brutal, it's poetic, and it's the kind of act that makes you lean forward and whisper, whoa. Now, let's pause and think about what this means. In the ancient world, decapitation wasn't just about killing someone, it was about stripping them of their power, their dignity, their place in the world. By taking Cyrus's head, Tomyris claims his story as her own. The blood-filled wineskin? That's her way of turning his conquests against him. He wanted to drown the world in blood. Now, he's literally submerged in it. It's a middle finger to every conqueror who thinks they can roll over people like the Massagetae and walk away. But we gotta ask, is this story too wild to be true? Herodotus, our main source, wrote this down 75 years after it happened, piecing it together from oral accounts. The Greeks, who had their own beef with Persia, might have jazzed it up to make Cyrus's defeat more dramatic. Persian records say Cyrus was buried in Massagetae, his capital, which could mean his body was recovered intact. So, did the head and blood thing really happen, or is it ancient propaganda? Here's what we know for sure. The Massagetae were real, a powerful nomadic confederation. Other sources, like the Roman historian Justin, back up Tomyris' victory, describing her as a queen fighting for vengeance and freedom. Archaeological evidence confirms the existence of steppe nomads with their horse-based culture and deadly archery. So, even if the wineskin moment is a bit of storytelling flair, the core of it, Tomyris defeating Cyrus, is solid. And honestly, true or not, it's the kind of image that sticks with you. A symbol of what happens when you push too far. With Cyrus's head in her hands, or in a wineskin, depending on who you believe, Tomyris stands victorious on the steppe, her people's freedom secured, her son's death avenged. The Persian army, or what's left of it, limps back across the Jaxartes, their dreams of conquest shattered. The greatest empire the world had ever seen is suddenly leaderless. Its invincible king reduced to a cautionary tale. Cyrus's death sends shockwaves through his empire, a sprawling machine that stretched across continents. His son, Cambyses, too, steps up to take the throne, but he's not his father. Cambyses is more interested in chasing Cyrus's unfinished dream of conquering Egypt than keeping the empire stable. He dives into that campaign, but his obsession leaves cracks in the empire's foundation. Rebellions flare, factions scheme, and it's not until Darius I takes over later that the Persians get back on track. But that's another story. For now, the steppe belongs to the Massagetae, and Tomyris is the queen who made it happen. What happens to her after this? The truth is, we don't know much. Ancient historians, with their frustrating habit of dropping the ball on women's stories, leave us hanging. Some say Tomyris ruled for years, keeping the Massagetae free and ensuring no empire dared challenge them again. Others suggest the steppe's harsh life caught up with her, that rival tribes might have challenged her power. The steppe was never a place for easy victories. Every leader had a fight to hold on. But the details of her later years aren't what make her story. It's what she did, what she proved. Tomyris wasn't just a queen. She was a force, a woman who took on the greatest conqueror of her time and won. Not because of who she was married to or whose mother she was, but because of who she was. This story isn't just about a battle or a bloody act of vengeance. It's about a clash between two worlds. The Persians, with their cities, roads, and irrigation systems, were what the Greeks called civilization, order, structure, control. The Massagetae, with their tents, horses, and endless wandering, were what the Greeks and Persians called barbarians. Wild, free, untamed. But who came out on top? The barbarians. Tomyris showed that power isn't just about armies or wealth. It's about knowing your strengths and using them. Her victory is part of a bigger pattern in history, where nomadic peoples, the Huns against Rome, the Mongols against China, toppled civilized empires. She was the first to show it could be done, and she did it as a woman in a world that rarely gave women a voice. That image of Cyrus's head in the wineskin, whether it's true or not, is what seals this story in our minds. It's not just gruesome, it's poetic. Cyrus built his empire on blood, always thirsting for more. Tomyris gave him exactly what he wanted in the most literal way possible. It's a warning to every conqueror, every king, every tyrant. Push too far, and you'll meet your match. Her act wasn't just about revenge. It was about turning Cyrus's own ambition against him, making him a symbol of what happens when you underestimate the wrong enemy. So why does Tomyris matter? Why should we, thousands of years later, care about a queen from the steppe? Because her story is proof that power isn't about who's got the biggest army or the most land. It's about courage, strategy, and standing up to the people who think they're untouchable. In a world that tried to keep women like her invisible, Tomyris made sure her name would be remembered, not as a wife, not as a mother, but as a warrior who changed history. When we talk about great conquerors, Alexander, Caesar, Genghis Khan, Tomyris deserves a seat at that table. She didn't build an empire, she stopped one, and sometimes that's even harder. The steppe today is quiet, the wind still blowing through the grass where the Massagetae once rode. There are no statues of Tomyris, no cities named after her. Her legacy lives in the story itself, passed down from Herodotus's scrolls to this very video. It's a reminder that ambition has a price, that power has limits, and that sometimes the people you least expect can rewrite the rules. So, history nerds, what do you think? Is Tomyris the ultimate badass of the ancient world, or did she take her vengeance too far? What's the craziest history story you want us to tackle next? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's keep diving into the wild side of history together. Thanks for joining me on this epic ride, and I'll see you in the next one.